It's not too bad. It's not too bad. What's up, you guys? It's Jae.thequeen, and today I'm going to be doing my makeup while I read this paper. It's about why I'm depressed. So yeah, so that's why I want to like distract myself trying to do my makeup or something. I'm gonna be trying to do a cut crease. I'm gonna be using my Jae.thequeen palette. I'm gonna be using these two concealers. If y'all can see what it is. Come on, focus. And then I'm gonna be using my ABH. Ebony HD concealer in light brown. Ooh. These are all the brushes I'm gonna be using. Okay, I'm not doing any like foundation or anything. I'm just gonna probably do this eyebrow and the cut crease on this side because I'm just practicing it. I guess I'm gonna be explaining what happened to make me depressed and sad and angry all the time. In turn, I would like for you guys to send me your stories if you would like me to read them anonymously, because I'm not going to put your name in it. And speaking of that, in my story, I'm going to substitute names so that nobody like, you know, it's like, hey, sorry about that. My mom was with my little sister's father at the time, and I'll just say like he had some issues, and ooh, it's drying out, you guys. But he had some issues, and they really fought a lot, like physically fought. And there's this one day in particular that I would never forget, because CPS tried to take us from our mama child. And that was a really scary day. Like I just heard them screaming and fighting. I heard things breaking. And then I remember the ambulance being there, and I finally saw my mom and I saw him, and they both like were beat up really badly. Like they both beat the crap out of each other. And they wanted to my mom wanted to go to the hospital. She wanted to press charges on him, but they're like, he's beat just as bad as you are, so if we take him out to take your kids into custody, and both of y'all are going to jail. And she was like, okay, nah, just take me to the hospital. And yeah, so we could have lost our mother that day. Really scary. But I was really, really little. My little sister was little. And my mom got us out of that situation. She ended up getting her own apartment eventually, because I remember she moved into an apartment and they were back together, And then we came home one day and he had pawned all of our stuff. And it was devastating for me to see my mom, and my voice crackling and things. It was hard for me to see my mom hurt about it. We ended up moving again into another apartment. And this is where like the next little section of my story begins. My mom, she was struggling, but she was working so hard. Like she was working hard. She was a pharmacy technician, and she ended up working night shifts. That really sucked because she had to find somebody to take care of us overnight all the time. And a lot of times I would end up being with my grandma, which was cool. It was cool. Then she had a cousin stay with us. I'm just gonna call him D. So D he ends up like moving into the apartment basically because he was there all the time. My mom, since she worked overnight, is like the perfect opportunity for her to go to work and have somebody watch over us, like somebody older she can trust. And it worked for us too because he was really cool with us. He played with us all the time and everything. My mom was still struggling even though she could go to work because, you know, she was doing it by herself with 2 kids, and I don't even think my sister was able to be in school at the time. I'm not sure. She was like 3 or 4. I was like 5 or 6. And so he was taking care of us or whatever, but my mom was struggling, and we still ended up, you know, some days without food or water or lights. And that was really hard, but my mom would sacrifice her last meal for my little sister and I both. So, you know, again, we appreciate that well. But this particular night, my mom had went to work or whatever. We were laying by the front door, not the front door, the back door where it slides because it was an apartment. And because we were trying to get some cool air, you know what I'm saying? It was hot in the apartment because the air wasn't on, which means, the lights weren't on, which means the AC, you know, obviously wasn't going to work. So, you know, I'm going in with my Jaclyn Hill palette, y'all. Like I said, all 3 of us, my little sister, him, and I were laying by that door, and he was like rubbing on the back of my thigh, and I don't know why, I was just like, the heck, I felt uncomfortable, but I was really young and I was like, I didn't really know what to make of it. And then he was like, y'all want to go play hide and seek? And I was like a sigh of relief. Like, okay, it's over. We went to play hide and seek, and my little sister and I hid separately, and I was hiding in my mom's room, like on the side of her bed. And he found me first. It looks like a black eye. He found me first, and okay. He found me first, and he he found me first, and basically he tried to put his thing in my bum. I was in pain. I remember I was in pain, and I kept saying ow, and I think it maybe made him feel bad, so he kind of he stopped, and he pulled his hands back up, and then he went to go we both went to go find my little sister. And then I was like, I don't want to play anymore. It's like hide and go seek is boring, because it's just like I don't, so I was uncomfortable. I was hurt at that point, so I was like, nah. Eventually he moved out, and my stepdad had moved in with my mom. We eventually moved to his house. He had a 2-story house. It was really, really old. The thing was made in the 70s. And I was going to school, and there was this dude I had a crush on. I'm gonna call him JC. So I had a crush on JC since we were in, that's too much, since we were in elementary school. When we got to junior high, after I guess he knew that I had a crush on him or whatever, he bullied me, man. He talked about my teeth all the time. He talked about when I started gaining weight, because I hit puberty, and I was really going through it, and I gained a little bit of weight, you know what I'm saying? And he was calling me fat. He was talking about my teeth and stuff, and it hurt my feelings or whatever, but I always tried to laugh it off, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody was laughing, so I was just like, it doesn't even matter. It's whatever. And I let it go. And I guess he kind of figured out he couldn't hurt me that way anymore, because I know how to just laugh with him. I figured he found another way to hurt me, and so he tried. He would always touch me inappropriately. I don't know how to say it, you know what I'm saying, without being weird, or else I'll cry again. So yeah, so he was touching me on my boobs and whatnot, and I began to get really annoyed and really concerned about it. And we rode the same bus, lived in the same neighborhood, and so I told my bus driver at the time. She was really cool, and I really thank God for her, because man, she really saved me. But I told her, I was like, can you please drop me off last, drop everybody off in the neighborhood, and then drop me off last at my house? And she's like, why, what's going on? And I told her, I'm like he's touching me, and I feel really uncomfortable. She was like, girl, she was like, don't worry, I got you, but you should say something to somebody. And I was just like, I don't know. I don't know who to talk to. So I was just like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, I really didn't want to break my mom's heart, you know? So I didn't really want to tell her. I was scared to tell her. And, he eventually found out where I lived. And that was probably the worst thing that could have ever happened to me. Because this is where things got, like, really, really rocky. To the point where I was really, really questioning myself. And I was really, really hurt and sad and all that at this point. Because, like I said before, my dad had that 2-story house, and it was old, like built in the 70s, like I said. And the back door was like, you pulled it hard enough, like it would open, no matter if you had it locked or not. And he had a brother, JT, and they would both, so he found out where I lived. He started bringing his brother, and they would find some kind of way to break into the house. And my stepdad had like a camera thing going on. Like, he supposedly had a security system camera, whatever it's supposed to be. And what happened was, those 2 boys were coming in, and they were trying with all their might to, you know, rape me. Like, one of them would hold me down while I was like kicking and screaming at the other one, like trying to fight and scratch and kick. And I was really, really scared. I was so scared to tell my parents that. Like, I still don't know why, but I was really, really scared to tell my parents that. I started to shut down, and I was more angry, and I didn't want to talk to anybody. And I'm guessing my mom felt some type of way about it, and she thought that I was sexually active, and I wasn't at the time. And she brought me in her room one day, and she's like crying, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And my stepdad starts talking, and he's like, you're letting these boys in the house, and look what you're doing to your mom. You're making her cry. And my mom was like, how could you? She was like, you're having sex, and I know you are because I saw it on the camera, and I'm gonna take you to the doctor. I'm gonna get you put on birth control. And like, at this time, I think I was like 13. And I definitely, like I said, was not sexually active. And it really hurt me. And like, if you could have seen like my parents' reaction, like my dad was really, really mad. My mom was seriously crying, and they didn't even ask me, you know what I'm saying, what happened. They just assumed, and that really, really hurt me. And I started to feel like everything was my fault. And I know now that it isn't my fault, but I still feel like it was my fault. Yeah, that really hurt me. And then I really, really shut down, you know. I was like, ah. Well, after that, we moved around a lot after that. So, I didn't really have too many issues. I was really in school. I wasn't around those people anymore. So I was pretty happy. I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty happy. After I graduated was when I kind of fell back into a depression, because at first I was doing drill team and stuff in high school, and I felt really, really proud of myself. I was doing really good in school when I, got myself out of that situation. Right after I graduated, I found a job. I found a job real quickly. My aunts bought me a car. My aunts and my grandma bought me a car, so I had a car. I was going to work. I was going to school, and then I really just fell off school, and I met a couple of people along the way. The first person that this was really, really tragic, and probably gonna be a graphic story for people. So if y'all don't want to hear graphic stuff, just skip past this part here. Okay, so first person that really made an impact on my life negatively was this guy I met at my job, my first job, Family Dollar. His name is we're gonna call him TT. We were together for like 3-4 months, and that guy was crazy, like really, really crazy. It was the 4th of July, and he took me to his mom's house, and we're at his mom's house, and we're gonna I'm guessing we were gonna spend the night. We ended up spending the night at his mom's house, and we were eating some cereal. We were up late eating cereal. Everyone else in the house was asleep. He just randomly came in the kitchen with my phone, and he was like, "You talking to some other nigga? You talking to some other nigga?" And I was just like, "What? No." And he got really, really upset, and he choked the mess out of me. And I wasn't doing anything to him. I really wasn't. And that scared the mess out of me, because he like choked me to the point where I was about to like black out. The next morning, he was trying to act as if nothing happened. And I didn't really want to be bothered by him. I was scared, and I wanted to go home. But, okay, well, he butt raped me. Yeah, I was screaming and crying and bleeding, and he did not care. He just kept going. And that was really, really traumatizing to me. So after I did get home, I blocked him immediately. Blocked him. And then that was the end of that. I haven't seen him since. Then I met my ex. He was terrible. Didn't really getting along with my parents very well, and like usual, so I ended up moving with him to Orange, Texas. It just ended up being really, really bad. Like the whole time I kind of felt like I really should be at home, like something's wrong, and I just couldn't really figure out what was so wrong, When it got really, really bad, I was going home. I visited home for Christmas, and I really was ready to stay home at that point, but I didn't. And when I went home for Christmas, I found out the worst news of my life. My mom said that she had stage 4 spinal cancer, and I freaking passed out, and I came back like crying. My mom's like, calm down, calm down, calm down. But she got a second opinion, and that's thankfully a misdiagnosis, but we don't know, what's really going on with her. But I just pray for her. Came back, and I was barely making enough money to pay for anything to fix my car, and we went through the hurricane, and I was like driving my car through the water and whatnot, and I really, really, really hated him at the time. Like, it was a struggle, and he like, over the course of like 2 to 3 days, the first day he stripped me down naked, and he threw me in the shower, and then he left the restroom, and I was just in there, and I'm like, God, like, I'm scared, like, what's going on? And hold on, let me get some lashes. In the shower, when he came back, he just started stomping me out and punching me and stomping me and punching me, stomping me, punching me, stomping me, punching me. And I had like knots all in the back of my head, all over my head, my forehead. I had bruises all down my arms, on my back. And I cried. And I tried to fight back. I punched him in the face a couple of times. And then when I got out of the shower, he was waiting out there for me, and I was sitting on the bed like drying off in my towel, and he snatched the towel from me, and he started shooting me with the BB gun, along with like the metal pellets, and he shot me in my butt cheek. It hurt. Okay, it hurt, but yeah. And then the next day, I was just chilling, laying in the bed, because obviously I didn't want to get up. And he came in there with rage, like for nothing. Like, we hadn't talked all day. And he took my mirror that I was doing my makeup with usually, and he smashed it over my head. And he took one of the shards, and he was trying to stab me with it. And I was like, oh no. And I grabbed it with my hand. I pushed him. I grabbed it with my hand, and I kicked him in the chest, and it pushed him off the bed. And I got up, and I grabbed my car keys, and I started the car, and I just drove to his aunt's house. I didn't have my phone, nothing. Like, I just drove to his aunt's house, and we went back over there to get my stuff. And I pretty much stayed with his aunt until I moved back home. And then when I moved back home, everything was fine for a while. I was working at this bakery, but then I quit. And then I was working at daycare, but then I quit because it wasn't for me. And then I was going to find another job one day. And when I went to the place, I don't know, I had like a weird feeling that day. Like, so, like, I just didn't feel, it didn't feel like reality that day. It felt weird. And on my way back home, I got into a really bad car accident in my Corolla, my baby. I got into a bad accident, and so the big truck slammed my car into another car, and they were sandwiched. I was sandwiched in between the two cars, and that was tough. But I like to say that a lot of my anger and hurt and like my trust issues and everything else is because of, whatever the situations were. But I also think that it's me, because it's up to me to forgive. I'm not saying that I was wrong and I was either wrong or right in every situation. I'm just saying that I should forgive these people and try to move on. And that's really what I want to do, and this is part of it. And if anybody else is going through something like that, I want you to go through this healing process with me. And like I said, send your anonymous stories if you have any and you are willing to share, because I would love, like I said, to do this journey with someone else who may need my help, because I need your help and we could help each other. I should do the rest of the video like this. But no. Yeah. So feel free to leave your story on my Instagram or my Snapchat. You could they'll be in the description. But yeah, let's heal together, y'all. Let's heal together. And I tried my little cut crease. It's more of a smoky eye, but it's okay. I love it. Still cute. Y'all like the lash? Y'all like the lash? Yeah, I'm gonna burn this paper, and that's gonna be the start of me healing from whatever I have going on with me. So yeah, join this journey with me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Snapchat and Instagram, you guys. Peace.